right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for My Hero Academia, Season 4, Episode 1.
Wow, we're actually saying those words.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's been over a year.
84 years.
Yeah, or like a year, almost a year and a half.
Yep. I mean, it's been a long time. It's been.
Yeah, the last time we had a season kind of hiatus of sorts, it was a very short one because MHA does 2 core seasons. It actually covers about half the anime year,
and they are the cash cow of Bones at the moment. So,
yeah, they're just going hard too. But we recently had some crazy stuff come out of Studio Bones, so it makes sense that they would give this one ample time in order to be prepped. And season 3 ended with a little bit of an interesting kind of spike up towards the end,
right?
Where we had some curious things start to get kind of foundationally set up,
right? Yeah, this season, let's just say they're probably going to be dealing with overhaul at the beginning. I'm guessing. Who knows how long that'll last, but I feel like we have a better idea going into this season of what the seasons, or at least the beginning of the season, is going to be about than any of the previous seasons.
Right. The previous seasons seemed to cap off their arcs in the season and didn't really bleed into the next season's arcs, whereas this one brought up things with Twice, which was like, we're going to get into the regular villains kind of thoughts and stuff like that. We're bringing in the big 3, Mirio, Nejire, and Tamaki, who seem to be kind of like almost a joke on the whole shonen thing, but also being a shining pinnacle example of what the 1A and 1B students could become.
Right.
And we only really showed off Mirio, so the other 2 are kind of placeholders for now until they get their spotlight. But Mirio, he made quite the splash.
Or rather, no splash, because he just went right through the things that he would have otherwise interacted with.
Exactly.
Yeah. But we are also now in a world without All Might.
Yes. Hence, he is not wearing his All Might shirt, y'all.
This is the darkest timeline. We will have crazy things happen, no doubt, right? So, yeah. Because the entire world, both heroes and villains, will need to adjust.
Yeah. What happens when goodest boy Superman is
not
no longer there? We are in that timeline, and while All for One might be in prison, I've never thought that was going to be a permanent thing.
Let's just say everything is not all right now because All Might is not here.
Yeah, we do have Toshinori though. We do have Toshinori.
This is very
true. And he is going to be a teacher.
He will continue to save people's hearts.
Structure, and he will be a positive reinforcement for not only the students, but specifically Deku.
Yep.
And hopefully even some of the others like Bakugo.
Yeah.
That development in the previous season with Bakugo and Deku was really good.
Good stuff.
And I'm hoping that in this next season, we'll get to see how the kids, now that they have their provisional licenses, get to meld with the pro heroes, work together, and kind of be that echo of All Might, where they can show people what being a true hero is all about. Because in some ways, the current number 1 hero is probably going to need a little bit of help in that arena.
he needs to do some soul searching. Yeah, let's just say.
Yeah, but we're probably not going to get too much of that this episode because in classic MHA fashion, this is probably going to be mostly a recap episode, or at the very least, a primer of sorts where we'll get kind of a foundational kind of reset, establishing all the characters, showcasing everyone, giving us the classic little MHA thing, showing what their quirks are,
what they like,
all that good stuff. But hey, it's been a long time since we've done MHA, and that means we have some announcements here. So this is big news. We posted in our community posts on YouTube about all of this, but the gist of it is all the blocked MHA reactions are coming back.
Yeah.
We we were figuring out the best way to handle this, the best way that made sense within our structure of distributing videos and reactions and stuff. So we're going to have all the discussions of those episodes that got blocked, those specific ones, all the way back to season 1, episode 1. have them put back on YouTube, and then in the descriptions of all those videos have the original reactions as they were posted on YouTube. Right. So that means there's no touching up or sprucing up of anything like that. You get to see the old school raw 720 pixel recorded reactions of long time ago in Semblance of Sanity history when I didn't like shonen anime. Like, that's how far back we're going here, y'all. Man. So as we get into what's probably a recap for season 4, hey, maybe you can recap on our My Hero Academia experience and journey. So yeah, y'all, without further ado, let's just jump right into it. All right, everyone, so check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, and then come back here for the discussion.
All right.
Okay.
I think this is
my favorite first episode, I think, of...
Right, not counting like the actual pilot.
The pilot, exactly.
Because it did a really good job of reintroducing us to the characters and the struggles and and who they were all about and whatnot. Yep. But it also progressed something that we've kind of been waiting for a long time, which is, given all the things that have happened, right?
Right.
A lot of arrows point to Deku.
A lot of arrows point to Deku.
And if you had someone who was intentionally trying to figure stuff out, and they were able to, be like, oh, hey, yeah, All Might have a successor. Like that's a very real possibility. Let's go to UA and figure it out.
Nothing to do with the whole idea of One for All being transferred as a quirk.
Yeah, exactly.
That's only known by like 3 or 4 people.
Right. Yeah.
Not including All for One.
Right. It's not many people that know about that, but the thing is just the idea of a successor for All Might that totally makes sense. And then since he's been spending so much time with Class 1A, totally makes sense that he would be looking for him there, or that they would already be there. Yeah, you have one reporter go there, ask a couple questions, and boom. It doesn't require much. It just requires a little bit of gumption, a little bit of, elbow grease to get in the doors of UA. Yeah. And then just spend some time talking with them. Yep. And I love that they built this around hope. The idea that there is a lot of uncertainty that comes from when change happens on a macro scale like this. Yeah. All Might meant a lot more than just how strong he was. He basically gave people the reason to smile. He gave people the reason to, as Shigaraki put it when he was in the mall talking with Deku, to just go on with their lives, not thinking or worrying about all the crazy stuff that's out there. Yep. And that's one of the beautiful things about, in some ways, about modern society in a lot of ways, not just in this idealized world of superheroes and supervillains and all that, is just that there are many people out there that don't have to worry about all these crazy things because there are, people like All Might essentially doing the thing that makes it so they don't have to think about that. Yep. Now, I'm not bringing that into the real world because there's, all kinds of crazy stuff happening there, but just in this world of MHA, we've got, a guy who spent most of his life, at least either training or being the symbol of peace, training to become the symbol of peace and also then just acting as the symbol of peace. And All Might wasn't around for that long. Like, think about it. He wasn't around for like 50 years or some crazy amount of time. And the fact that, we had people in the past who were One for All wielders, but they were not ones that called themselves the symbol of peace. That was something All Might started. Yeah. Everyone is thinking like, this is the best time we've had as heroes. The golden age of heroes.
Yeah, we need to continue this. How can we continue this? And they're like, well, All Might should, kind of use his position to prop up someone that society can get around behind. And it's like, well, he didn't do that specifically. Right. He kept it a little vague. So what does that mean? Obviously, he wasn't saying, Endeavor, you're next. Right. And it's not saying that Endeavor couldn't be, a good symbol for, for things eventually, like maybe given some character development. But we need something to believe in. We need someone to believe in. And that's, in some ways, part of the fallacy of human beings is that we are not quick to jump forward and take the hit ourselves.
And in fact, we find a lot of comfort when someone else takes that responsibility for us.
Very much so.
And I gotta say, it was very refreshing to have the reporter be someone who at the beginning seemed so mercenary, which is fine. Like if they had gone for the fact that like this was all something that he was doing to basically get the scoop,
just get some money,
and then he gets some money, and there you go. It's like, I would have been fine with that too. I would have been a little bit like, okay, yeah.
Okay, sure.
But it still makes for a very interesting conundrum of like, you're helping these people, and these people are basically like, kind of working against you,
Yeah.
But instead it was something that is rarely associated, at least in my mind, with the news, in that we need hope. Like that was really cool to see, and that he had a personal story behind it. That the idea that helps cement that All Might really did. He was the symbol of peace, right?
He was, yeah.
He helped so many people, not just the people that he directly saved, but he did personally save a lot.
And those stories, the people that had personal experiences where they were like 1 degree of separation, like a family member was saved by All Might, where their lives could have been irreparably damaged if not for All Might coming in and saving, someone like his father here.
Yep.
That changes a person on a fundamental, deep level. We think about, what it means for his say, it's all right now. Why? Because I am here.
Yep.
People then go, oh, thank God. Yep. Oh my God, thank you. I can relax now. And what All for One kind of represented, and what will probably happen with this new group of villains coming into the fray here with new characters and new uncertainties and all that. That's not like that. Hope isn't going to be found or built up easily. It's going to take effort. It's going to have, there's going to be struggles. There's going to be doubts. There's going to be suspicions, confusion, and all this other stuff. But if we can at the very least have a few people start to champion a message of hope, bring that from the ground level, from the grassroots level up, we can see some really cool stuff happen even before Deku's ready to be the next symbol of peace.
Sure.
Because think about what's involved in that.
Oh yeah.
It's not just saying like I'm All Might's successor.
Right.
It's proving it by action. It's starting to build, not just in the marketing sense, your own brand, but it's
in yourself. So, like,
building it in yourself.
Because
the
thing is that All Might was an absolute paragon of what it means to be a hero, not just from the stance of what it really means to be a hero, but also in his capabilities as a hero.
Yes.
So much so that he could actually say, no matter what the situation was, everything is all right now because I'm here.
Which is
Deku can't say that.
Not yet.
He's more like your friendly neighborhood All Might,
right.
Like
he's moving,
but he's not All Might, right?
He's moving there, but he's on his way. But he's dealing with issues where, like, if he uses his arms too much in the wrong way, like he's will never use his arms again.
Right.
Like
it's kind of an issue.
He is in the early budding stages of being, the next, not even the next All Might, but the next symbol of whatever he represents.
Right, to be Deku, yeah.
Yeah, to be Deku.
And because in some weird ways, if he were just training to be the next All Might, it would almost be better for him to do nothing.
Yeah.
And maybe just train for 5 years, right? Till he's at the point where where All Might's at. And then then he steps out and he doesn't have to worry about,
Yeah. And we just hope in the meantime that everything's going to be kind of mostly okay.
But that's not the way Deku does things.
Yeah, that's also not reality. Like, let's think about this in a logistical sense. How much time has actually been covered in the 3 seasons we've had of MHA? Not a lot of time.
Yeah, the most time was the 8 or 10 month training period with All Might at the very beginning.
Yep.
Like that's
So the idea that how fast things could essentially unravel if we don't have some good movement in place, in position, some good people in place for when things do go a little crazy, because Shigaraki's still out there, and because he's also not a static character. He's going to be growing, learning, and in some ways I'm actually scared about the idea of him moving a little bit back into the shadows and being a little bit more of an instigator on like a societal level, like more taking what he learned from Stain and from Deku. So there's that. And then also we have a new arc of story, and we brought in a character who's very much by the OP and the ED telling us, like, this is going to be the main...
magical girl of plot relevance.
Whoa. Oh, you're talking about her. I was talking about just Overhaul.
Oh, but, yeah, sure, Overhaul.
Can we talk about this Oni, like, little cute girl here? Because in the OP, they have her very much in the like she needs to be saved.
Right.
She's falling,
and Deku's reaching out to grab her.
Yeah, she's falling, and it's funny because this is if it was under a different context, this would be the classic love kind of opening scene.
Oh, sure.
But if you think about what this character kind of represents in their design, they have a light hair color, which I don't think you're supposed to extrapolate too much from that, but it's unkempt, it's wild, it's
yes,
she's not being kept in a state that is healthy for her,
right? And then a bunch of bandages,
so she's not necessarily being like taken care of by someone who cares about her.
She is in a place where she needs at very least to be saved, if not for some healing to happen.
Yeah, healing is probably the more accurate thing, that she's either in a constant state of needing healing like Deku.
Yeah, her heart needs to be saved, not just whatever situation she's in.
But as she gets closer to Deku, the bandages come off.
Yeah.
Meaning that maybe the scars of the past, the things that she's dealt with, because I'm going to bring up the ED, because the ED is even bigger. The ED goes into a full-on, like, flashback kind of thing of where she's with her mom.
We got some plot-relevant stuff, like, telling us about this character in the ED.
Like, before we've even seen this character.
Or even know her name or anything,
Yeah, so that's huge. Then we jump to the ED, and the ED, holy crap. We start off with this dark kind of web kind of
it almost reminds me of like one of those like sound wave like showing things, when it's like you know what those are. I forget what they're called.
Like this sounds like a scratchy image. Like
yeah.
Then we have adorable wholesome baby being fed, and we have a wholesome, happy family kind of setting here.
And then,
but I want to bring up the fact that they don't show the dad here. Just want to bring that up.
Right, they showed like the little edge of his arm,
edge of a shoulder here.
Yeah.
Then we have, just cute little drawings, which is probably just, mommy, daddy, me. Then we have, kind of just her growing up and what have you, hugging mom. And then we show a flash of, I think it's a red.
Well, basically what's probably her quirk activating.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing. This reminds me a little bit of Shigaraki's quirk.
Oh, sure. Because they disappear. They're gone.
They just potentially dissolve there. And I don't know if this is just the gray background, but it kind of looks like there's dust surrounding the thing here. It's probably just the shadow,
It's probably just the style. Yeah, because it's kind of everywhere.
It is kind of everywhere.
Like, it's not shown as much because there isn't light in the other places, but yeah. Right. There's also a point where I saw like a cage or something. Like
the cage was in the very beginning of the ED. Yeah. So this is
maybe
literal. Let me just play it. Let me just play it really quickly. So it flashes a cage for a little bit.
Right.
It's very like geometric in terms of its odd shaping here. Yeah. Okay. So it's got an odd kind of paradoxical shape there, where the cage is probably not a literal cage of like she's being kept in a cage, but it's
although she could be.
She could be, but I think this is more of a she's caged in terms of the way she experiences life. She is not free to live life as, probably because of her quirk.
That could totally be what it is, but here's an idea where it could potentially be literal. One of the things that they showed in the OP was the idea of villains and then bad people or whatever, right?
Yes.
Or enemies, that's what it was.
Yeah.
And with the idea of someone like Overhaul, right? Overhaul, right?
He wants to overhaul society. Yeah.
Because there is something deeply wrong with society. Right. Now, the way that I would say if they wanted to show how hero society was super like messed up, right? They would show something where something that was harmless or good or innocent, in this case a child, right? Something terrible happens to them because of hero society. So I would not be surprised if she has some kind of like almost Omega level type quirk or something.
I would be,
and she like disintegrated her mom, right? Something she gets locked away as some super dangerous kind of Jean Grey sort of villain, right? In some prison or something. Now it doesn't have to be that, but if they wanted to make it literal, that could be a way. And because it's done by hero society, when it's like, no, this is just a little kid, obviously she didn't mean to do that. That was just her quirk awakening,
right? I love that theory. it fits very well with the next bit here in the ED, which is
all the cells.
Yeah. Let me bring this up. This is something that I don't know why they put this in there, but it is very different for MHA. So there's what I'm assuming the dead mother, or the disappeared or disintegrated or whatever mother. Then we see a flash of images. Let me pause it on it. Okay. Hold on.
Yes. Oh wait, no, this is Overhaul's quirk.
Yeah. There's a potential for all kinds of things here. I gotta pause it because there's two images. Okay.
Yeah.
This is clearly cells.
Right.
These are.
And they give them two different color schemes, which would make sense if it was for Overhaul's quirk. Like different things being sort of mashed together.
Yeah. Now.
But it could also be for her.
Yeah. The thing is, I'm going to assume basically everything in the ED is her, because one. This is a dumb thing, but pink purple, it's a feminine color, generally speaking. Cool. The other thing is just that we went from her in a crazy situation, like mother is dead, to cells, which makes me think, her quirk. Right. Her quirk has something to do with her physical cells having some kind of unique property. But then what they cut to right after this
is, a gas grenade.
What is this?
Well, and it has the same purple-pink color scheme as the cells did.
Yeah.
So that makes me think like what a virus or something like that.
Some kind of.
Well.
So some kind of technology.
Well. So one of the things that this makes me a little bit like curious about is Overhaul has a plague mask.
Yes. Right? Good point.
So a gas canister like this, I could see it being something where that's what he uses, and that's why they all wear masks, right? Now, what if there was a familiar relationship between her and Overhaul? I think you mentioned that earlier.
I want to go out there and just I love the father-daughter relationships in the protagonist side of things, but what if we had that for the villains?
And what better way to make a father like relatable than basically say, you're holding my little girl hostage. You're imprisoning her. She didn't mean to do that,
and so he breaks her out, or have you.
Or maybe he's trying to, but he isn't able to. Maybe she's in some crazy supermax, and now he's like, well,
that would be a good way to which they could
tie back into
All for One.
Oh yeah.
Oh shoot.
And
okay. But here's the thing: the fact that it's purple and pink, the fact that it's purple and pink. And this is clearly some kind of capsule, battery,
or
grenade,
gas
canister, whatever. There's a relation between what this is and her quirk.
Right, which would that would make sense, because what we've seen with Overhaul is that he has his own matter, whatever things. And if there was a specific in it, there was a specific thing where she got part of something related to his quirk that caused it to be even more terrifying, right?
Right. But what if this is something that the government is doing? What if this is what's going to make the villain not necessarily as bad? It's something where they're specifically taking something from her. If she's caged, if she needs to be rescued, they could blend the line a little bit between villain and evil.
They're trying to experiment on her basically to
draw some kind of technology from her quirk.
The potential dangerous thing, depending on how far they go. Oh yeah, and also the fact that she has her simple dress thing looks like a hospital gown or something like that.
She definitely looks like she's an escapee from some kind
either
of
in a prison or getting experimented
facility
on, or something like that. And if the thing is that if they make it be something where the government is experimenting on her and things like that, something that's basically actively malicious as opposed to justice gone very wrong.
It's probably something where it's the greater good,
right. But
if
it
malicious,
right? Well, sure, but I mean,
it's a kid.
Yeah, it's a kid.
Yeah.
So if you have something like that, then what that does, if when the heroes find out about it, is that it puts them in direct opposition with a cornerstone of society.
Well,
right, of at least this hero society. Yeah. Well, one dark aspect of one of the because then the thing is that if they doubt the hero society in that instance, right, and maybe even go indirectly oppose them, then with things like say police officer woof woof, why would they necessarily want to follow what this guy says? Because then you start to question everything. So if they do that, because they could totally do that,
Mhm.
but that is something that you can't undo. Right? If you have it something where it's the plight of like a father trying to get his daughter back, then that's, I would say, a bit easier to resolve and then move on to what's next. Whereas like, well, if they go the experimentation route, that changes like.
Well, it does, but they could have it be a thing of where the experimentation route isn't like discovered for a long time. Like let's have it be a thing of where, like, let me go back to the OP here. You have the first time we see her here, there's a very clear like she's shown with Overhaul here. Yeah. So it could be a thing of where it's a part of Overhaul's backstory, because one of the classic things of shonen to do is to bring in the backstory of the antagonist later. Later. So then what you have is you get the antagonist who basically has something that's, you know, anti-society or what have you. Then once you start, you know, dealing with them, you begin to unpack like what makes them a human being, like what makes them not just an evil person but a misaligned person. Or a.
What if it wasn't okay? So what if they still did the experiments thing? But it was Overhaul that experimented on her.
I mean, that's the thing. What if it's
like,
both?
Because like, one of the
all
things
it could be is that he then discovers it and he's all like, no, we're going to take what they meant to use and we're going to use it ourselves.
Yeah, but I think I might have figured out
she might even be like, yeah, daddy, for sure.
Yeah, that is a definite possibility. They showed cells.
Yes.
What can Overhaul do? We have seen him basically rearrange matter.
He has some basic telekinesis of movement yes, but it could be an advanced form of that where he's moving things on a deeper level, right?
Right, exactly.
The word Overhaul just you know what Overhaul means, right? Like it means more than just
change.
Overhaul.
It's fundamentally change.
Deeper level.
So I would not be surprised if, because they brought up like the whole idea of like quirk marriages and things like that, right? Which is getting into the genetics, you know, cellular stuff and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
I would not at all be surprised. If basically Overhaul created her in a lot of ways, maybe in some way, shape, or form. Because there's also the fact that she has the horn, right? And that could just be part of her quirk, right? That could totally be part of her quirk. But that gives me the impression that it's something otherworldly, something, you know, like
otherworldly
or unnatural kind of a thing, like because
describe what you mean.
Well, okay,
backtrack a little bit.
So
I'm lost a little bit.
So if there's a familial connection, like let's say she is Overhaul's daughter, right? I don't see any horns on Overhaul. I didn't see any horns on her mom. Where did that come from? Where did that come from?
That's actually a good point. That might completely throw out any kind of Overhaul daughter theory then.
Maybe.
Because in some ways, like, the genes of the quirks are supposed to be passed on mostly by the parents, but there is, like, we know about genes skipping generations and all that, so there might be a thing of where it's you know, it's an uncle or it's a grandparent from a couple generations back.
Or it's just a part of her quirk that just, you know, in a particular combination it manifests itself that way. You know, who knows, right?
My thing is that in a society, I'm going to bring up themes here a little bit. The reason why I go for the experiment route is because I've been getting the vibe that once All Might leaves, we're going to go hard X-Men. And one of the reasons for that is because All Might is kind of a god figure.
Yeah.
And people put a lot of faith in him. People put a lot of kind of basically some unfounded beliefs, meaning that they put too much weight in the capabilities of one person. All Might is not a god. All Might is not invincible.
He is still one person. He can't save everyone.
He can't save everyone. So what I think generally happens in these types of stories, where basically people start to lose hope, faith, and belief in all that is good about humanity, they turn to things that can solve their problems on a more automated level, on a little bit more of a systematic level. And I would say science on a, you know, in its darker areas, you know, we produce things that are not necessarily abominations, but they are things that override certain aspects of humanity, or overhaul them, if you will. So I think the horn thing actually might be there was definitely some experimentation done here if it was Overhaul's daughter. And I think experimentation on humans things fits very well with one of the best arcs in X-Men, which is basically what they did in order to with what Stryker did. So,
well, and the thing is that I don't know how much control Overhaul has over his quirk, but
I'm guessing he's strong,
right? But depending on the level of fine-tuned control he has, a quirk like that would be pretty freaking amazing for experimental type stuff.
Yeah, I still think there's a little bit of leaps of logic we're making with Overhaul's quirk, because a couple things that we know is that we saw him take the reservoir dogs and he melded them into the physical environment, like concrete, a truck, and a whole bunch of things there. So what that makes me think of is, in some ways, it reminds me of a telekinetic version of Mirio's quirk. So you take the phasing side of things, and if anything, he's just smushing things. It's not super fine-tuned because their parts are all over the place, and what have you.
If there were to be anything like this, it would be absolute, like, it would be a level, so many, like factors of 10 levels beyond this. Right. But since we know that quirks are genetically related, you can theoretically just merge the quirk DNA of one person into another person throughout all their cells,
and keep hoping it works eventually.
Like I don't know what that would happen, if that would have adverse consequences.
Oh, it definitely would. That's probably why the bandages are there.
But
hey, well, leave it to a recap episode to drop an ED and an OP that is far more interesting than the recap episode in terms of world building discussion. So, y'all, that was the first episode of season 4, and if they're building up to like this kind of stuff,
oh boy,
and it's just the OP and ED that we have to go on here. And that's just contrasted with the fact that, Class 1A is going to be put into the forefront of the story in order to help take their turn, so to speak, in the limelight. There was something else that I don't know if they were just dropping it there casually, but they mentioned some big things regarding All Might and Sir Night-Eye.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That Sir Night-Eye was his
Sir Night-Eye was his what was it? His apprentice?
What's the word? The freaking
sidekick. Yeah. Hold on. Let me
Right, he was his sidekick, but not anymore, right?
Okay, so, here we go. Says, and you already have an idea who that is, don't you? At first, I thought it'd be one of UA's big 3, the third year Togata. That's Mirio.
Yep.
Which is interesting because if you look at him,
he looks very much like All Might.
He just looks like All Might. He literally looks like
Well, and he was regularly visits the agency run by Sir Night-Eye,
All Might's former sidekick,
and apparently and in season 3 that he was talking about Sir, right?
Yeah. So and then they cut to this guy here who was our reconnaissance detective boy here.
Yeah.
And this guy seems to be like the complete opposite of All Might with regards to kind of brand, because he's got slick coiffed, calm hair. He's he looks slender. He looks more like I am Sherlock Holmes, intellectual.
In many ways, he's probably the perfect sidekick for All Might in that, because All Might doesn't need any help in the superhero side of things.
This is his guy at the desk. This is his guy at the chair.
Right. This is his efficiency manager, basically making sure that the maximum, society gets as much as possible out of All Might. But the fact that they split means maybe they had some, differences and stuff.
Yeah, it says, however, it appears All Might and Sir Night-Eye have parted ways.
Right.
So that's
kind of a big deal.
That is interesting. And I haven't had any information saying the two have contacted each other. So we can just assume they haven't. He then kind of goes, but I'm thinking along different lines, and then goes to 1A.
Oh, wait. What if the reason they split was because Night-Eye wanted Mirio to be the next One for All holder, and All Might didn't like it?
See, I don't know about that.
Because there would need like they could totally introduce something else later on, but right now Mirio feels like the only connection point between the two of them, and I'm guessing they didn't part ways just because reasons.
But
right?
I think there would have to be more than that, because when I look at Mirio, he's almost too perfect. So I would say, if anything, All Might would be completely for this guy.
And especially with the quirk that he has, giving one for all to someone who can make it so that they aren't even affected by things.
By physical matter or what have you.
That's too good.
Like, this guy is almost unstoppable. Like, just in terms of...
Just already as is.
As is. So he's stronger than most pros in that regard. So if anything, this is just kind of maybe a thing of where... It was a thing of where he was going to be kind of set up like that, but there were other things going on in the background, maybe with Sir Night Eye, because I feel like the problem wouldn't be with this kid. This guy feels like the star pupil, you know?
Yeah, and that's probably why Night Eye picked him.
Yeah, and there's probably not any big, like, ego issues or anything with Mirio where it's like, no, he's just a good boy. He's a good, wholesome boy.
And we've seen that he had to struggle and, whatnot.
Yeah, he had to overcome his own issues and stuff, so it's probably an issue where Night Eye had maybe some images or some idea of what the symbol of peace meant, and All Might's like, no, you don't get it.
Right.
Like, I feel like that's the thing, is that maybe All Might is even more idealistic than we give him, you know, kind of not negative credit for, but just kind of than we knew. And Night Eye is a little bit more of an analyst, so an analyst. I can't speak here, but if that was the case, he would be a little bit more pragmatic. He would maybe do things that are a little bit more realistic for covering bases. Where was that image of him? Yeah, here. Just the idea of seeing him in the dark at a computer with kind of the light over the glasses here and having kind of this like hunched over look. He feels maybe even a little bit obsessive. Like just if anything, like he's not a bad guy, but he's maybe a little bit on the eccentric side to his own detriment.
Sure. Yeah.
But I gotta say, I'm interested to meet this character because I don't think we've had a true kind of intellectual type character in MHA really yet.
Right.
Like, and who would be the closest? Like Momo?
And maybe Ida at the beginning before we really got to know Momo, but not really.
Yeah.
Well, and one of the other things that I gotta say is that given how MHA has been thus far, the kind of stuff that they're foreshadowing, or at least we think they're foreshadowing with OP and ED, and even potentially with Sir Night Eye, that's not the kind of stuff that I would have expected MHA to go into. Because the thing is that MHA, and maybe this is just because All Might's gone now, right? So it thematically works to go into that kind of stuff. MHA was such a, sort of classic, good guys versus bad guys, and and there were the people that weren't so good, and the people that maybe weren't so bad, but it was a lot simpler.
Black and white.
Yeah, black and white. Of like, all right, fight for justice and whatnot. Save people.
There are clear evil bad guys and clear good guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
But this feels like they're
going gray.
They're going gray.
I want that because one of the things that I get excited by is misaligned antagonists that on the surface level have a very evil side of themselves, and then you get to know them and you go, oh no, you're still messed up, but I understand the ABCDZ
you're
a
person, not a villain.
Yes, exactly.
Because it's very easy, and that's why the fact that they said villains and enemies in the OP, it's like, because
you're against me? That means you're a villain.
Well, and the idea that sometimes it's not necessarily that the person is an evil villain person. Right. But the thing is that when it gets to those stakes where lives are on the line and
laws might not be looked at as that, defined
and people are opposing each other, they might have their own way of doing things, and there might be merits to both, or at least from their perspective, how could they do anything else, right?
Right. We've already seen how our protagonists rub up against the law and have this little bit of a kind of a Harry Potter happy-go-lucky thing with the rules.
Wise Tories, you three. But so there's a lot of possibilities for how this is going to be taken.
So, a lot, for sure. Yeah. But y'all, that's our first episode's reaction, and in classic, fashion, we took
MHA.
so much discussion out of so little.
Yeah, like I didn't I kind of set my expectations low for this episode.
Yeah, me
it's
too.
probably going to be another, whatever. But
yeah,
okay, all right, let's do this.
Season 4, y'all.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion.
Yep.
If you want to see the next episode's reaction discussion, you'll have to wait
Right.
because we're watching this seasonally with everyone here, which is awesome. But you can check out the link in the description below for our Patreon if you want to get full-length reactions here. They're timer-based and such. And then you can also, via any level of support on our Patreon, get access to our private Discord where you can chat with us, the community, a lot of other awesome anime folk in there about MHA, be it, anime-onlys, manga people, whatever. And you can also talk with Jacob about the book he wrote.
Yes, indeed. In case you haven't heard, I wrote a sci-fi novel called Battle Lines, and it's pretty awesome. The link is in the description to Amazon where you can purchase it if you want. There's also some reviews on there, so go check those out. And if you do get a copy yourself, make sure to leave a review as well.
All right, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.